I'm Alice Toole. I'm pastor at Clarendon Presbyterian Church in Arlington, and I'm happy to co-chair tonight with.
I'm Saif Rahman. I'm the Director of Public and Government Affairs at Darul Hijra Islamic Center in Falls Church and a member of the Voice Strategy Team.
Thanks
and
so
I
much.
will be co-chairing with Reverend Toole, who I asked to join the strategy team, and she gracefully accepted.
Yeah, it was the best ask of the year. Maybe this will be the next best ask of the year for you tonight. Reverend Mandy North is going to open us with prayer. Thank you, Reverend Mandy.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we give you thanks for this time that we have to gather together as your people, to consider what it is to be a leader in this moment, to bring peace and justice to our neighbors and our communities and all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. God, help us to feel your presence throughout our meeting tonight. Open our minds to learn something new. Open our hearts to be loving and compassionate to one another. And may you be the one that guides us forward. For it's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend North. So welcome, everyone. I'm Alice Toole. I'm the pastor at Clarendon Presbyterian. Saif Rahman and I are co-chairing tonight, and we are so glad you are here. Our goals for tonight. If you are not talking, if you would mute yourself, that'd be great. And I will do the same when I am not talking. Otherwise, you might hear my dog and children. So, unless you want to hear them. So our goals for tonight are to celebrate the work that we've accomplished together in 2021, and there has been a lot of great work accomplished together. Have some fun reminiscing about some of our 2021 highlights as well as our lessons, and to make commitments and to hold one another accountable to raise the money needed to hire 4 full-time organizers. If you should see that message at the top of your screen, and while you came on to Voice, we are recording tonight's event, and we might use some of the footage for a year-end video that people can use, that we can use for fundraising. So thank you so much, and thank you to Harry Hanbury, who is making that video. So the first question we have for you is a relational one. We start with our relationships because they are what drives us and what is most important. So you saw that question in the chat earlier. Why are you a leader with voice, especially this current moment? Why are you a leader with voice, especially given this current moment?
It looks like we're back, Saif.
All right. So welcome back. Does anyone want to share a quick thought as to why they're here tonight, or what's pushing you to lead?
I'll share.
All right.
Hi, my name is Kim Beatty. I'm the office administrator at Manassas Church of the Brethren. It's nice to be here with all of you. For me, at this moment, what's so important is these crisis receiving centers that we're working for. And like, my experiences with mental illness have been absolutely horrendous when it comes to emergency situations, not just for myself, but for others. And I really feel like this is something we need to make happen. And that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much, Kim. I'm going to ask everybody to pull out a cell phone. Do people have a cell phone on them?
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't have a cell phone on them?
So what I'm going to do, and I know those people that are driving are probably going to have a difficult time doing this, and you might not.
Maybe don't do this if you're driving. Just
don't
listen.
do this if you're driving.
Don't do this if you're driving.
Don't do this if you're driving. What I'm going to do is I'm sharing my screen, and we're going to do a quiz about some of the accomplishments of Voice this year. And in order to join this quiz, what I want you to do is essentially, I'm putting something up on the screen right now. you go to, on your phone, go to ahaslides.com/FO voice, friends of voice. So FO voice. And then put your name and we'll see you on this quiz. All right. Let's see if we're getting, all right, Alice is on, great. Mandy's here, Janet. All right, Kimberly, I see Kimberly, I see Marcia. I see John. I see Tina. Let's see, David, Kelly. All right, come on. So you got to go to ahaslides.com/FO voice, and the winner of this is going to get a voice mask. So we have 18 players on so far. Lori, Roy, Diane, Joe, Kenneth, Reverend Dawn. Let's see, Harry. Waiting for a few more people. I'll give it another minute or so and then we'll start. So if you're trying to get on, hurry on and do it. And this quiz will be an 8-question quiz. So the quicker you answer the questions, and the questions will show up on your phone, the quicker you answer the questions, the more points you're going to get. And I advise you to answer off of your phone because my Zoom will be a little bit slower than what comes up on your phone from what I've learned. My kids have really gamed this system and they figure that if you answer on the phone, it's a lot quicker than answering off of the Zoom. So make sure you answer off of your phone. All right, we have 21 players and we've got 45 participants. So we're missing quite a few people. I'll give you one more minute to jump on and then we'll start the quiz.
Can you repeat how to get on stage?
Sure. You go to your browser on your phone and you click you type in ahaslide, ahaslide.com/FO voice. And that should take you to a prompt where you enter your name and then you will enter the system. So we've got 22 trying to join.
Those instructions are in the chat also, the website, ahaslide.com.
Thank you very much. And it's on your screen. It's basically to join, go to ahaslides.com/FO voice. All right. Should we get started? Are people still trying to type their names in? All right, let's get started. Here we go. You guys ready? Question 1. And remember, the quicker the answer, the better, more points. How many CEOs resigned as a direct result of a voice housing action last year?
Oh, jeez.
Was it 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
How do you answer?
So don't call out the answer. Put it in your phone as you're answering the questions. That way you get the points. And the quicker you answer them, the more points you get.
You click on the thing and then you put in your answer.
All right. So those of you that answered 1, you are correct. And that was a direct result of the Voice Arlington team. Yay. Let's see who's leading. Oh, Alice is leading with 2 points ahead. And in second place, you got Kenneth. In third, you got John. In fourth is Mandy. Fifth is Taliba. Sixth is Lynn Stanton. We'll keep going. Next question. Here we go. Question
Voice
2.
Arlington.
All right. How many voice leaders attended the Voice Builders in the beginning of 2021? Was it 150, 250, 350, or 450? How many voice leaders attended the Voice Builders in the beginning of 2021? Take a guess, folks. 150, 250, 350, or 450? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 150. All right, the correct answer is 450 people, 450 leaders attended. And let's see who got that question right. Oh, it looks like Reverend Nixon has taken the lead. And Mandy is in second place, and Harry is in third, Tina's in fourth, Kevin's in fifth, and Alice has dropped to fifth place or sixth place. Here we go. Next question. Question 3. You guys ready? How much money did Voice get allocated to start the crisis response centers from 430 million? Was it 15 million, 12 million, 4 million, or 10 million? How much money did Voice get allocated to start the crisis response centers from the 430 million that came in Virginia? Let's see who gets this one right.
And say that was part of the federal dollars that came.
Federal dollars that came in. Thank you, Elisa. All right, the correct answer is 12 million, but no one answered that one.
It didn't come up.
It didn't come up till.
It was confusing.
It wouldn't let you do
Okay,
it.
well, 12 million is the correct answer. Let's go to the next question. That means no one changes. Let's go to the next question. Question 4. Here we go. We're halfway through. In what part of Virginia is Industrial Areas Foundation newest affiliate? Is it Richmond Power, Faith in Action in the Shenandoah Valley, Hampton Roads Warriors, Roanoke Action and Power RAP? Which of these is the newest affiliate of the Industrial Areas Foundations and going to be a sister organization to Voice? All right, let's see if people get this one right. And the correct answer is Faith in Action in the Shenandoah Valley. Most of you got that one right. All right, let's see. Oh, Reverend Nixon is still in the lead, and Reverend North is right behind him. You've got Harry still in it, Tina still in it, Kevin's on the board, and Alice is still on the board. Now, these questions that are coming have more points, so you have more opportunity to increase. Here we go. Question 5. Which of these is Voice's logo? Which of these images on your phone is Voice's logo? So choose the image that is the logo of Voice. I'm hoping people get this one right. I can tell you it doesn't have a mic in it. All right, let's see if people got that one right. All right, all of you got it right. That's right, that is Voice's logo. And Reverend Nixon still leading. Oh, Reverend Stanton Hoy's on the board now, and Kevin has dropped to 6th place. Let's go, next question. Question 6. How many people have donated to Voice this year? And this is a difficult one, so it has more points. 206, 350, 43, or 500. How many people have donated to Voice this year? Let's see if people get this one. This one gets a lot more points. So if you get this one right, you're going to jump up in the board. It's 206 is the right answer. 206 is the right answer. Oh, look at that. Reverend Nixon's taking a commanding lead, and Tina has jumped to 2nd place. And Alice has dropped to 6th place, and Reverend North is in 3rd, and Marcia's in 4th, and Harry in 5th. Let's go. Question 7. We're almost done, folks. Stay with it. Who gets the mask? How many people donated to Voice last year? How many donated last year? Is it 206, 350, 438, or 500? How many people? I'll give you a hint. It was more than this year. It was more than this year. That's the hint I'll give people. All right, let's see. Who gets the right answer here? The correct answer is 500 was last year. 500. Only 2 people got that one right. Let's see. It looks like Tina has taken the lead. And Alice has jumped to 3rd, and Reverend Nixon's in 2nd. Mandy's still on the board, and Harry's still on the board. Last question, folks, and this has the most points. So whoever gets this one right will jump on the boards. Question 8. Here we go. What small gift do voice donors receive during our winter campaign? Is it the voice scarf, the voice pin, the voice mask, or voice earmuffs? Which of these is a gift that we give to donors during our winter campaign? I would sure like some voice earmuffs, folks, wouldn't you? Especially how cold it's gotten.
Absolutely.
But the correct answer is the voice mask. And I see 12 of you got that right. Let's see who our grand prize winner is today. Oh, it looks like Reverend Nixon just beat out Tina. So Reverend Nixon is our winner. And Reverend Nixon is the one that will be getting the voice mask today. I appreciate everyone playing today.
Dave,
He's a
Safe.
ringer.
I'm getting a call from the corporate offices that Reverend Nixon is disqualified as a member of voice staff.
Okay,
As a
so
member
if he's
of voice staff, I'm sorry,
disqualified, that
Reverend
means
Nixon, you are
Tina.
ineligible.
Who's Tina Fisher?
Tina Fisher, in fact, is our champion.
Tina Fisher gets the voice mask. Reverend Nixon, I've been overruled.
I'm sorry. We can't do
Congratulations,
nepotism. We can't do
Tina, you did a
nepotism.
great job. Thank you all for playing today. I hope this was a fun little thing. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to James to talk about some of our successes.
Yes, congratulations,
in
Manassas
2021
Church
and
of the
hopefully
Brethren. Y'all are some smart people. As a congregation, I think you led the league. Very good job. It's wonderful to be with you all today. I'm James Pearlstein, organizer with Voice in Prince William County, and support the work in the Shenandoah Valley as well. So I'm actually here in lovely Harrisonburg at the Madison Hotel. This is my background. I also just want to give a shout out before we start to my colleague, Elisa, who is recovering steadily from surgery on her tongue, which is an essential part of an organizer's body. And so, it can't keep Elisa down. It's great to have you back after a month off, Elisa.
It's really great to be back. It's really great to see everyone tonight. And thanks for everybody for all the great work while I was gone.
And it's been, there are no other people that I would have rather weathered a pandemic with than you all. It's been really great being with you. And, times have been tough, but we've been able, to make some real change, and we're going to continue to make some real change. And if we can help organize money, we'll be able to do even more. So I just want to very briefly walk through some of the things that we have done, over the last, bit of COVID here. And then I'm going to ask Reverend Mandy North to share a little bit about a personal experience. So when COVID hit, first time that any of us had been through this, we went back to our roots and did what we know how to do, which is we got on the ground in our communities, within our congregations, and we had face-to-face and virtual conversations with 2,500 everyday people in Northern Virginia, in the lines for people waiting to receive food outside of some of your congregations, with families at Title I schools, in going door to door in public housing. And we heard over and over again that the top concern that people had was the fear of being evicted in the middle of a deadly pandemic. You all know, you went to the front lines, you took action. We were able to get one of the strongest eviction moratoriums in the country, which we're happy to say, it's never 100% perfect, but it really has helped keep people in their homes. Give yourselves a round of applause for helping to keep Virginians in their home during this time. We helped win $80 million of rent relief. We taught people about how to access the sometimes difficult rent relief, and we taught social workers and principals and pastors about how to do that. And thankfully, we were able to hold back some of that flood, and we continue to do that. And then we said the process of training and developing leaders needs to continue. And so we had a really great voice builder session. Raise your hand if you went through voice builders earlier this year. Over 400 people who went through training on how to create power for change. And then, we decided that we needed to dig deep about what is happening at this moment. And the consensus from people is that we wanted to take aim at the intersection of race and the criminal justice system and power in Virginia. And that's what we have been working on around these crisis receiving centers. And I am going to pass it to Reverend Mandy North, who's going to share a bit about that. And then I'll come back on to give you a quick update about where we are.
Yeah, thank you, James. Like James said, for the past several months, we've had the opportunity to work at that intersection of racism and mental health in the criminal justice system. And we really want to decriminalize mental illness through these crisis receiving centers. You may have also heard us call them crisis stabilization units. Crisis receiving centers are 24/7 facilities where people can go experiencing a mental health emergency, just like someone would go to the emergency department at the hospital for a physical health emergency. It's a safe place for law enforcement officers to bring people experiencing a mental health crisis that keeps them from taking the person to jail or taking the person to the emergency room where the law enforcement officer is required to stay with the person until they're admitted to the hospital. So before James gives an update on the work around this issue, I just thought I'd share a personal story of why I believe crisis receiving centers are really needed in our community. A few years ago, a friend had a plan to die by suicide. The note was written, the rope was hanging from the rafters, and a text message to me was all typed up. His plan was to send me a message as the very last thing he did before completing suicide, so I could get first responders at his home before his young adult daughter got home from work and just found his body. Fortunately, she arrived home a few hours early that night, and he didn't go through with his plan. But I was able to drive him to the local emergency room where I waited with him for more than 6 hours to be seen by a mental health professional. In order to wait, he was escorted to a room down a really isolated hallway where others experiencing a mental health crisis were waiting also. An observer was assigned to his room, and she sat in a corner to keep an eye on him to make sure that he didn't hurt himself, but she didn't talk to him, and it was clear she wasn't a professional who could help him. Across the hall was a young woman who was handcuffed to the bed, while a police officer sat in a chair by the entrance to her room. After 6 hours of waiting, a nurse came to check on my friend, but really she was wheeled into the room as a talking head on a monitor screen. She wasn't physically there. She was in another part of the hospital and had dialed in to talk with him through a video conference and to start the process of admitting him to the behavioral and mental health facilities there at the hospital. But by then it was 3 a.m. And I often wonder how that experience that night could have been different for my friend or for the young woman across the hall or even that police officer if we had had access to a crisis receiving center. With the work that we've been doing, we've learned that it's possible my friend could have been seen by someone within 15 minutes. That young woman might not have needed to be handcuffed to the bed for so many hours. And that police officer could have gotten back on the streets and answered another emergency call. That's just my one story. And I'm sure we all have a friend or a loved one with a similar story to share. James, do you want to give us an update on where we are on bringing crisis receiving centers to our area?
I will, and I know we're running short on time. We over the summer were able to win about $12 million for the whole state in one-time money for to support crisis receiving centers. We have one project that is game ready to go. The Prince William County facility. We know that, in coming months and years, we will have that for other areas in our region. We have $6 million that is committed from the Prince William County Board of Supervisors. Shout out to Prince William County for the work that you all have been doing. And we are now looking to get ongoing funding, about $4.1 million of ongoing funding that will be needed to make that operational, that we need from the state. Because of the election, it has scrambled some of the leadership and people who are going to carry that money in the budget. And so we are working to get a meeting with Governor-elect Youngkin. And we think that there may be an opening through some of our allies in law enforcement to still keep that whole. It is a tricky time, but I will lift up that we're also thankful that we have a new affiliate in the Shenandoah Valley, which is politically different from Northern Virginia in terms of the political makeup, which could be really helpful for us. So we'll have more updates in the next 2 weeks about how that's going. Please pray for Prince William County and for the work we're doing, and about the future of building a big alliance around this work.
And James, there'll be more details, right, next week at the Voice Wide on what each of us can do to help move this.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Mariah Hurst from Parkview Mennonite Church in the mighty city of Harrisonburg, Virginia, who's going to tell us a little bit about the work that we've been doing to build a new affiliate in the Shenandoah Valley. And I'm going to show you some photos of what that actually looks like. Pastor Mariah.
Thanks, James. It's really good to be here with all of you. As James said, my name is Mariah Hurst, and I'm one of the pastors at Parkview Mennonite Church. We, as Mennonites, are often very committed to social justice, but are often called the quiet in the land as well. And so it's good to be a part of groups like this. So thank you for having us here tonight. Faith in Action is grounded in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley. We are about, there are about 28 religious institutions and community organizations that are a part of us. Many of you, if you have heard of Harrisonburg, you've probably heard of James Madison University. It is one of several universities and colleges in town. So we are a town based around education in many ways. Harrisonburg itself is fairly urban, but we are set very close to the county. So this urban and rural is very close by. And there's a very clear political divide there, which hopefully we can see as opportunity instead of a political divide. But there is a very clear blue-red line when it comes to voting between the city and the county. Harrisonburg has a lot of poultry plants, and so we are working with a range of folks in our community, figuring out what it means to be in that kind of industry, as well as we have welcomed a lot of people from many different cultures. I was scared when I moved here that I would give up good international food, and we are a refugee resettlement city, and so the diversity is amazing. I helped hand out flyers about how we might get vaccinations into some neighborhoods, and we handed them out in 8 different languages, and that covers about 80% of the community. And then in the next 20%, I think there's over 70 other languages. So it's a very diverse little city. The other thing that is here that is a bit different to where all of you are is we do actually have a very high concentration of Mennonites and Brethren. And one of the universities in town is Eastern Mennonite University. So Faith in Action, which I want to just clarify that we are a smaller group. We are not a part of the, there is a national group that has changed their name to Faith in Action. And so we are actually considering a name change so that we are not confused with them. But Faith in Action has been working on their own for a little while and had a few different modest victories, but realized that there's only so much we could do on our own, and we needed some help and some guidance. And so we have national affiliation now with IAF. And over the last 15 months, we've been working at a power building campaign. We are in the midst of building our core teams in congregations, and there's been some really exciting work done there, amazing strides taken in some congregations. And then we are working at raising money as well. So we've raised from individual donors over $95,000 to hire our first full-time organizer. So we're really excited. She has just moved to the Valley and we are working to welcome her. We are launching our listening campaign so that we can hear the voices of many people throughout the Valley and figure out what we need to be working at as we work together. The aim of this is working towards a refounding action with hopefully over 500 people in the summer of 2022. And just to note that most of the work that we have been doing has been during COVID. And so we have been meeting in barns and outside wedding venues and mostly masked. And so we've been trying to get to know each other in those ways. So it's exciting to be here and share a little bit with you. I'll hand back over to James.
Thank you. And thank you, Reverend Hurst. Some of the photos that you saw were from the recent meeting where Faith in Action brought out 105 leaders in the cold. Was it cold, Reverend Nixon? You were there, 40 degrees.
I had to wear my hat and bundle up a little bit.
Yeah, at the Rockingham Fairgrounds to learn how to build core teams and to launch the listening campaign. So you'll hear a lot more about that in the weeks and months to come. I will pass it to whoever is next. Is that Reverend Toole?
That is Reverend Toole. So I'm part of the Arlington Voice strategy team and part of the larger strategy team. And Arlington has been working really hard in the last year and for multiple years on affordable housing. For those who are in the Arlington team, I invite you to take yourself off mute and woot woot. I see Janet Valenzuela, I see Hillary Horn, I see Pat Findicaloo, and that's only on my first screen. There are Dan. Yell out these people because I can't see them all on one screen because there's so many. Dan Campbell from Trinity, Nancy. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Feldhaus. Thank you. And so many more people have been working on affordable housing. Most of our energy has been focused on the Serrano apartments. The residents there have been living under horrific conditions for years. Things that you would not want to live in, things that you would not want your children or your enemies to live in if you have enemies. We have worked alongside the tenants there. Elder Julio Basurto is receiving an award later on this week for his work. And so many people. We're about to see a from that first quiz question. And I won't reveal too much, but you may have seen this video. It is powerful. The people in Voice in Arlington are powerful, and Arlington Voice is teaching me how to be a powerful leader. Are we ready? Can we show the video?
Yes, I will get it queued up.
And we're showing just half the second half.
Correct. All right, let me know if the audio is working.
Where is your community? In our inspections at the Serrano, we saw utility bills that are almost mathematically incomprehensible to understand and outright wrong for some units. We heard over and over of the disrespectful, scornful treatment by management. As a result of tenant organizing, the county began paying attention. Some improvements have been made and deplorable conditions continue.
I feel like we've abandoned these residents that these programs are supposed to serve. You know, I never heard an apology from HC about this. There's a lot of anger, obviously, as there should be. You know, these units, I wouldn't want my kids in them either.
In the wake of the Housing Commission hearing on May 6th, AHC President and CEO Walter Webdale suddenly retired, and a senior VP of Property Management resigned. AHC has apologized to tenants and promised to put tenants on its board of directors, inspect all of its properties, and commit at least $1.5 million to finally make some repairs at the Serrano. But they've broken promises before. People are still suffering, and millions of dollars more are needed. Some Serrano residents are living in hotels because their apartments are uninhabitable. And AHC's plans suggest that major renovations to the Serrano may be years away. This story is far from over, and Voice needs you to join us so we can fight for tenants' rights, build tenant power, and push our elected officials to create more and better affordable housing throughout Northern Virginia. Join us at voice-iaf.org.
Thank you all for watching that powerful video. So many voice leaders. So I am a leader in voice, especially this year because of the work at the Serrano. And those people at the Serrano, the residents at the Serrano, the organizers at the Serrano, the voice leaders together, they've shown me two things. The first is for the congregation I serve, to get our skin in the game, that we need our entire church to care about all of Arlington and every single person. And we need to commit our own building or our own resources potentially for affordable housing. And the second reason is more personal. My kids go to school with kids that live in the Serrano. And I cannot imagine being a parent, being a mom in the middle of COVID, educating a child from home and having to live with mold and rodents and disrespect, racism, classism, everything. And for parents to show up and other residents to show up at these meetings again and again and again, calling AHC out, which is the owner, Drucker and Falk, which is the management company, and standing up for these Arlington County officials so that they would care. Voice Arlington and Voice as a whole has taught me about power and how to get real skin in the game. And that as residents for our democracy, for our neighborhoods, for the place we live, we have to do it for ourselves and for our for generations to come. So, friends, why has voice been so important to you in the last year, especially at this time, at this critical moment? So I'm going to call on some people to give us highlights, if that's okay. Shelly, are you here? Shelly from the Mom Network. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Will you share your story?
Yes. Why it's important? Education is important. Mom Network is Mothers of Muslim, and we're all about empowering, engaging, and establishing programs for moms and their families. And the work that Voice has, working with Voice has actually given me power to then pass it on to other women. One thing that I've learned in the last year is that it's really not about me helping people. It's about me showing other mothers how they can help themselves. And through that has been empowering for me, and I'm just ready to do even more. So I'm excited.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Shelly. That's so inspiring. And I love that you're the leader of a mom network, the Mom Network. Talaba, are you willing to share? Are you here? You might be on my second screen. Not Reverend Nixon. Are you willing to share?
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. I'm sharing why I love Voice. Yes.
Yes.
Or
why you're a leader in Voice at this present
why
moment?
I'm a leader in Voice. Okay. I'm more of a follower in Voice than a leader. But I do try to lead others here to Voice and get people involved because I appreciate Voice. We Virginians, we organize. I like this group because we organize. So for example, we compelled Bank of America years ago to come to one of our Voice actions, and we put their feet to the fire, and we had them agree to do some restitution for the heavy foreclosures in Prince William County. And they contributed funds as well as sent people to counselors to help people see whether they could refinance their mortgage. So this is just one of the things that we in Voice do, and it's because we're organized people with organized money. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Reverend Nixon, are you willing to share? Our winner?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll be brief, but what I'm excited about in becoming an organizer is that transition from when those like Elisa Glassman and James Pearlstein and Amy Abbott came to me to kind of get me to be a clergy leader and to challenge me about things that I believe in, to show me how to understand power and how to use it in an organized way. And to help through institutions and through voice to see that transformational change that is possible that you don't necessarily see elsewhere. And I'm excited as an organizer that I get to make that transition to do the same thing that they did for me. And it's to help those understand how to use their voice through voice to begin to take action on those things that are near and dear to them in their local community, but also in the broader community.
How to use our voice through voice. Thanks. Safe.
All right. Thank you very much, Alice.
Safe
Yes.
and Reverend Toole, if it's okay, can I ask people who want to share and haven't yet, if you can, maybe put a couple notes in the chat as to why you lead with voice. We'd really like to hear those stories.
And
Thank
then
you.
we can have Reverend Nixon and maybe someone else can call them out as they come in. And
Or
while
later
we're waiting for that, I want to ask everyone a question. How many of us on this call are a friend of Voice? Okay, how about you raise your digital hand? Do you know how to do that? Let me do some Zoom teaching here, right? So the digital hand is you go to reactions on your screen and you say raise hand. There you go. Oh man, people already are Zoom masters, I guess. I guess we should be after this year of Zoom.
We've done this for 18 months, Safe.
What was that?
We've done this for a while, Safe.
Yeah, we have. All right. So I see a good number of hands. That's awesome. So what we're here to talk about tonight is to talk about, you can lower your hands. So we're here to talk about essentially what we're trying to do with this Friends of Voice. To date, let's look at our numbers. We've raised $169,354. Can everyone give yourselves a round of applause? Our goal is to get to 250,000. So we're at essentially 2/3 of the way to that goal. And we're almost at the end of the year. Last year, we raised 235,000 for Friends of Voice. And there's plenty of opportunity for gifts and plenty of opportunity and time for people to realize, that they can still give. Now, does anyone remember the quiz question of how many people donated to Voice this year versus last? Who remembers that answer?
Won't answer it.
What was that?
I won't answer it because I get disqualified.
Anyone want to take a stab? How many Voice donors do we have this year?
260.
Oh, close.
I think Lori and Kim both have their hands up.
Okay, yes.
206.
206 is the correct number. And how many did we have last year?
500.
500. So you can see that there's still room for us to grow and there's opportunity for us to do that. And that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight so that we can talk about this and talk about how do we get to that goal in the time that we have left. And Reverend Toole, why are we trying to raise this money? What is it for?
More organizers. We need organizers. We need organizers. How are we going to do this without organizers? Pay your staff.
So essentially, this money is to get organizers. And we have tonight with us a guest that will help us with, you know, sometimes, and I'm one of these people. You put me up, you know, in giving a khutbah, which is the Arabic form of a sermon at the mosque. I can put me up last minute. I can give a sermon easily, but put me in front of someone to ask for money, and I'm like, oh man, can I really do this? Right? I've been speaking at public venues. I've been speaking in front of presidents and kings and all this, but put me in front of someone to actually ask for money, and somehow my tongue is tied, right? I become Moses, for those of you that understand the biblical reference there. So it's, I turn to someone that has been an expert in this, and he's going to give us some of that expertise today. And Fred Stoltz has been doing a phenomenal job with voice in helping us to realize some of our goals. And I'm going to turn it over to Fred for a few minutes to give us some words of wisdom.
Awesome. Thanks, Safe. Hi, everyone. My name is Fred Stoltz. I'm going to bring to the screen a PowerPoint to aid me in my sharing with you. So in my brief time here of roughly 10 minutes, I'm going to clue you in on some trade secrets from the James Company. And by way of introduction, the James Company is a fundraising organization that's been around since the mid-'80s. It was started by a man named Bob Connolly, who is a name probably familiar to many of you. Bob Connolly is currently a member of the Metro IAF strategy team and also founder of the IAF affiliate here in Milwaukee, which is where I'm broadcasting from, affiliate called Common Ground. So I'd be guilty of plagiarism if I didn't cite Bob as a significant source of the content that I'm sharing with you. Bob's been prolific in preaching the art of the ask. Also, I do not want to be guilty of overcomplicating what is in fact a straightforward act, right? The act of asking, because at its core, asking simply involves stating why voice is important, making a request, being silent to receive a response, and thanking and following up. That's it. It is really that straightforward. But having said that, I am going to take a few minutes here and share some things for you to consider along the way. Why do people give? 3 reasons that we found: faith and values. Giving is shaped by what and whom we believe in. It's shaped by what we believe to be the purpose of our lives. People give to opportunities. We give to specific opportunities to which we feel, to which we hope will impact people in a positive way. And finally, people give because they are asked. Fundraising at its core hinges on relationships. People are generous when they're asked, especially within the context of a relationship. So these are the basic reasons of why people give. Let's focus first on you as the asker and talk about a few things. We need to do a little bit of self-reflection because, as Saif was mentioning, asking is not everyone's favorite thing to do, or asking for money specifically. So we need to overcome some angst and some fear that we have. We need to overcome the fear of rejection, the fear of someone saying no, or the fear of making someone uncomfortable or angry at us. So we need to be willing to take a small risk for a large gain here. And I capture the quote of Nelson Mandela. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave person is not one who does not feel afraid, but one who conquers that fear. So we need to have a healthy mental attitude going into our task of asking. We need to be clear in our own minds why we are making the ask. So we need to believe that what I am asking for is worthy of the ask. We need to be able to share why voice is important to me. We need to be able to share why giving to voice at this time is important. And finally, it helps to have made your own gift to Friends of Voice, if you haven't yet, before asking another. So if you reflect on these things ahead of time, you will have a healthy mental attitude going into your task of asking. Now let's focus on the people you are reaching out to, those being asked. You will have the best success when we take time to explore their self-interests. So if by chance that spans a couple conversations, that's great. That means you're discovering and listening well and coming to understand what their self-interests are so that you can frame your request around their self-interests. Even if, right, their self-interest may not be so much focused on voice as it might be focused on their relationship with you, right? You might be reaching out to a sister, a brother, a mother, a dad, an uncle who treasure your relationship, and out of that self-interest will support voice, even though they may not know a lot about voice. It's possible, and in the end, if anyone you gauge is not in a position to give, it may not be in their self-interest, that's fine. That's fine. So let's talk about the actual ask that occurs. I show a picture here about a river, which I will explain in a moment, but we want to remember these key things. That asking is a question. What it is not, it's not passing judgment on anyone. It's not you as the asker making a decision in advance of what a person might be capable of giving. You make the ask on behalf of the needs of voice, and they make the decision. The picture of the river refers to what Bob Connolly has always talked about, the river of judgment. If we want to stay on safe ground, we stay on the right side, the correct side of the river. We do not cross the river onto that side, which is the valley of judgment. So as long as we don't come across as passing judgment, you will be on safe ground. So it relates to these three mistakes which we can easily avoid. One is to never use the words "you should" or "you must" or "we've got you down for." We need to avoid those words. Also, never assume that a person can't or won't give. And on the flip side, never assume that a person can or will give, or never come across or imply that we think they can afford to give. Because in the end, it's their self-interests, not their bank accounts, that drive generosity. It's their self-interests that matter. So when making an ask, we want to talk about these things. First of all, avoid using the words "please give whatever you can." Avoid couching your request in that way. Rather, suggest a hoped-for gift range. And as we do that, we want to use words such as consider and possibility. By using these words, we will stay on the safe side of the river. And once we make the request, then we give them the space they need to thoughtfully consider their gift. Because frankly, in most cases, people will need some time to think about what their gift will be. You will not you will not necessarily receive a response that says, okay, I'm going to give X amount. That may happen in your conversations, but usually people need time to consider the request. So it would sound like this, the actual ask. And there's two scenarios here. The first scenario is you're interacting with someone who's given to voice in the past. Your ask would be, would you take the time to consider sustaining or possibly growing your prior giving by 10 to 25%? So there's the ask. Another form of the ask, though, especially for someone who's not given in the past, would be, would you take the time to consider the possibility of a gift of $300 to $10,000? So you put that request out there and pause and be silent for a moment to create a space for them to respond. And that's probably the hardest piece of it, is just being silent for a moment. So that is asking for the hoped for gift. As you end the conversation, you thank them for their time and thank them for their consideration as they think about their response. And yes, thank them for whatever their decision ends up being. Remind them that their donation can be made by going to the Voice website. Now, if someone outright says, you know, I don't believe I'm going to participate in this and give to Friends of Voice, in that situation, you simply thank them for having considered your request. Ask them, is it okay if I call you a year from now and check in on you? And also, you can ask if they know anyone who you could reach out to, who may have an interest in what Voice is doing. When you're all done with a contact, we suggest you email them a thank you within a day or two. Again, just thanking them for their time and thanking them for the consideration that they're giving to their support. And then we suggest that a couple weeks thereafter, you could send a follow-up email once again that would say, if you've responded, thank you so much. If you're still considering your response, we encourage you to respond as soon as you can. Who do you reach out to? This is pretty straightforward, right? Members of your institutions, friends and family, neighbors, members of the community, and also consider reaching out to prior givers from your region or congregation, prior givers to Voice. And here's with this, the Voice staff is available to assist. You can contact the staff and they can garner the names of those givers from your region or congregation that you could reach out to who have not yet given to Friends of Voice this year. As far as how to reach out, email and a phone call for sure is available. We do have a sample script available to you. In fact, there's a whole toolkit that we'll send you the link to that has a variety of documents in them. And within that toolkit, you'll find this script that will be of help to you as you think about the conversation you would have with a potential donor. You start with the relationship, share why Voice is important, ask what that person's connection with Voice is if they have one, share a little bit about the Voice accomplishments and what the funds for the Friends of Voice campaign will do. You can be relational. Number 3 here, ask the individual what issues speak to them and why, and then get to your ask, just as I've been explaining here. Would you consider, and then make the request, and then close the call. So this is all here in this script that you can employ. Beyond the phone call, you could consider arranging a time to meet with them in person, if that works. And you could also consider, if you like, a virtual house party, gathering friends and other contacts you have to do a Zoom session and have fun with that. We have in our toolkit a little outline that can set you on that path. So in order to reach the goal of 250,000, we have to bridge this gap of roughly $80,000 between now and the end of the year. So we need for voice leaders, all of you, to consider how much you're willing to commit to raise. And here's a chart that paints a picture of how we bridge that gap of 80,000. Having 4 leaders, for example, commit to raise 5,000, 4 to commit to raise 2,500, so on and so forth. So that's how we would get to 250,000. So with that, that wraps up. Well, oh, I'm sorry, one last thing. So I know I threw a lot at you, but I always like to end with the key takeaways here. Key takeaways to consider is a reminder that in the act of asking, you are yourself providing a gift. You are providing an opportunity, right, to give to something that you know works and is important. So that is a gift. The hardest part is that first step, is starting. Once you make that first step, you'll find yourself in a nice flow, and the rest will be simple, right? Tell them why voice is important, make your request, create a space for them to respond, thank them, and follow up. So those are the key takeaways. Asking is straightforward. And the last thing is I wanted to just circle back to that toolkit that I mentioned before. In that toolkit, you will find these PowerPoint slides. You'll find the letter that we sent out to all donors in the fall, in October. You will find that outline for a virtual house party. You will find the script that I showed you earlier. You will find a page that has testimonies from individuals talking about why they value voice. And finally, you'll find the voice annual report. These are all resources to you that may be helpful as you go forward. So thanks again for your time, and I hope this was helpful, and I hope this may have lessened any angst that you might have, and hopefully it has bolstered your confidence as you reach out to others. So with that, Saif, I'm going to pass it on to you to continue this discussion about our fundraising commitments.
Thank you very much, Fred. That was great. So just remind me again, Fred, we need 4 people to commit to 5,000, 4 people to commit to 2,500. And what are the others?
That's right. That's right. And we need 6 people to commit to 2,000, 16 people to commit to 1,500, 10 people to commit to 1,000, 5 people to commit to 500, 5 people to commit to 300.
So one thing that I was thinking about as Fred was speaking and about the issue of the ask, and this is what really has motivated me. You know, when we start any prayer as a Muslim, there's the opening chapter of the Quran. It starts with, in the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, right? Praise be to God, the most merciful, the master of the day of judgment. You we worship, and you we seek guidance from. Then comes the ask. So we praise God. We start with the praise, right? And if you're a Christian, their Lord's Prayer, look how it starts. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, right? In earth as it is in heaven. Then comes the ask. So we're looking for our commitment, ourselves here on this chat tonight, to commit to say, I think I can do $300 to $5,000. And you saw the numbers of people that are required for us to reach that goal. I personally will commit to one of the 2,500 slots. So you can hold me to that commitment, Fred. And I think I've already committed and I've done some of it, but I will reach that. So what I want everyone to consider is to see, think about it. Can I raise 300? Can I raise 1,500? And it's thinking about who are those friends, who are those community members that you can reach out to. And we will provide you the tools, as Fred has shown, to be able to make the ask, because I know it's uncomfortable. I'm one of the first people to tell you that. So let's take a second, think about it, pray on it. And if we can get everyone to write in the chat, maybe if you're comfortable in doing so, to say, I'm willing to commit to raising this much by the end of the year.
Can I ask, who feels more comfortable raising money today after hearing about all the great victories, about hearing what's happening at the Serrano, about hearing Reverend North share her story, and finally the training? Who here feels more comfortable now than they did when they got on this call? Raise your hand. Who here feels motivated to go out there and raise money so we can get a fourth organizer?
And we need that organizer. If you're in Arlington, we need that organizer. And I will give you some good news. We just received news right before this call that $10,000 was committed for a new voice organizer in Arlington. So that's your encouragement. So can we get everyone to say, okay, someone's given that 10, but I'm willing to step up and say, I want to really make that difference before the end of the year and I can commit. So I see some commitments. I'm going to turn it over to Tina and Reverend Nixon. I think you're our chat people, your chat co-chair, so you can tell us who's saying what.
I also see a couple of hands up too, Safe.
Safe, I wanted to break in. The staff at Voice kept me going through 2020, 2021, and they've kept helping me keep my faith more than the church sometimes. So thank you, Voice staff. They are an expression of living out our faith. And through Voice, I feel that impact, and I feel the ability to be part of that impact, both through my institution and personally. So that reason of that impact, and I hope to create some sort of winter event to raise this $2,500 that I've just committed to. And I'm excited to raise that.
And Alice, I was thinking about that. I was speaking with Elisa a little earlier. So I'm a property developer, and part of our work, we have to do these political donations on all sides. And you think about it, we make these donations and then a candidate either wins or loses, and you don't know whether you're really, making a donation to make a difference or not. Here, this donation, will make a difference. You've seen what Voice can do and what Voice has done. And I think that our commitment here really pushes towards that difference in our communities and the larger society. So that's what really drives me to continue to do this work and continue to be engaged as much as I can with Voice. I see a lot of numbers coming in. Joseph, thank you very much. The 2,500. Can we give Joseph a round of applause? Marcia, great job. And Mark committing to 500. Lori committing to 500. Do we have more that I've missed?
I see John committing to 300, David to 1,500, Reverend Dr. Lynn Stanton Hoyle for 2,500. Reverend Nixon and Tina, who are you seeing?
Pat, I can't pronounce the last name.
Indikoglu.
Okay.
Indikoglu.
$1,000.
Amen, Pat.
Marcia Rhea, 1,500.
I see Reverend Kenneth Nixon with the Voice putting on the First Baptist Manassas hat. You have a hat of $2,500. Thank you, Reverend Nixon.
And remember, this isn't, everyone should become a friend of Voice on this call, but this isn't just about you, right? This is about you reaching out and thinking. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm reaching out to my brother who was, formerly engaged with voice and know what voice can do. Some other friends who have seen what voice can do. And you'll be surprised. Someone, I was speaking to a friend who was doing a lot of work for us. And I said, can you give to voice? He's like, yeah, how much? So I made the mistake of saying 2,500. Now I feel like I should have asked for 5. But he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do 15 now and I'll give 1,000 later. So you will be surprised at how people are engaged if you make the ask. And it really is surprising, but it just takes that courage to make that ask. Okay.
Hillary Horn from Temple Road of Shalom, $2,500. Thank you, Hillary.
Yay, Hillary.
Dr. Francis committed to 500. Joseph Keys Nova committed 2,500. Nova Catholic.
Kim Beatty on our Voice Corps team committed to 300.
That's so awesome, guys. And remember, this is voice. So commitments are commitments, right? Someone's going to follow up. So just, make that commitment. I'm not trying to discourage you, but know someone's going to follow up. And I feel bad for Fred because Fred's always after me to like get me on meetings, and I'm just swamped. And he's so, I patient with me. And I really appreciate all of this, the staff's patience with us in trying to make these things happen. But let's make this happen together, and really appreciate all of your time this evening and all of the energy that you all brought. And I appreciate my co-chair, Alice Toole, for really stepping up in this last period and making a difference both at her church and within Voice. And I'm going to turn it back over to Alice.
Oh, thank you, Safe. So, and thank you all for these amazing commitments. If you can still can remember, one of the tools was sometimes we need time to think about it. So I thought about it. So if you need some more time, please reach out to Elisa or James. Is it Elisa or James that people should reach back out to for those final commitments? And Reverend Nixon or organizers? Great.
Reverend Toole, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you. So when people are making their commitments, this was in case people didn't see the chat that was in there. So if you wanted to give yourself, $2,500 and then raise an additional 1,500, then your commitment would be 4,000. Is that right?
That's correct.
So it's the combination of what you might, you and your family might give, and then anything that you might raise yourself. So that's your total number in case people are wondering about that.
And we will and reach out to Voice staff if you need the resources. Those resources are really useful, especially the script and that, how you couch it and everything, as Fred went through.
I was thinking I would do one of those Facebook birthday fundraisers. Last year we did a turkey trot for Voice. We might make that into a winter run. And then add some good letters and phone calls to friends and family. And those of you who are in faith institutions asking within the faith institution, I had the awkward task of being a pastor, so I've already just asked my faith institution for lots of money. But I want the other people in my faith institution to ask those people in the faith institution for money. Does that make sense? Elisa.
I have a question. For those of you who have done this before, do you have any advice for those who may still be on the fence about whether or not they should, try doing it this year themselves? I know a lot of you have done this before. Any advice for some of us who, maybe are a little nervous about doing it this year? I'll share myself then. I used to hate to raise money. But now I really love it because it is so great to have people say yes. And people say yes a lot more than they say no. And I'll just say for all of you who have given, every time someone gives, it's just a reminder of how important this organization is for all of us. So I want to say thank you. And I want you all to have that opportunity to have people say yes to you as well. So if you haven't done this before, try it. the worst thing that will happen is someone says no, but I promise you, you'll get more yeses. All right, thank you all. Is there anything else before we close in prayer?
I want to remind everyone we have a voice-wide action next week, November 16th, to discuss the implications of the Virginia elections and draft Voice 2022 plans. Edward just put the link in the chat. Thank you for that. It'll be good to debrief and then get a view of what is coming in 2022. Reverend Peoples, who is the founding Voice clergy. Safe, do you want to introduce her?
Sure. Reverend Linda Olson Peebles was here in the area. She was at UUCA, I believe, and then became with UU Acatink and was one of the founding four members of Voice. So great energy. Recently, or quite some time, moved to Maryland and then moved somewhere else. Is Linda still on with us?
I am. I've been here. Yep. Great.
Would you close us out in prayer?
I am honored to do that. And I just want to say it's been so good to see all of you. I've been a few years away from Voice, and it's wonderful to see you and to see the energy and the power that's in this room. Spirit of life and love, known by many names or no name, we feel your presence when we look at one another's faces and hear each other's voices. And we feel the spirit of hope come alive when we remind ourselves what people can do when they come together and encourage each other to build power. We know that hopelessness is the quickest way to let injustice persist. And that is why we who love justice must always find ways to feel hopeful. We give thanks for each person in this room and for all those we will give the gift of voice to. We will be offering hope to people in this time of hopelessness in our society. We give thanks for voice. We give thanks for each of these folks. And we give thanks for all those we will be talking with soon. Amen.
All right. Thank you very much, folks. Thank
Amen.
you, Alice, for co-chairing with me tonight. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Safe. It's been an honor.
Thank you. And thank you all for attending tonight. If you are part of the organization team, as always, if you'd please stay on for, are we doing 5 minutes? But we'll do a 5 minutes recap as we always do. Thank you all for being with us tonight. We really enjoyed your presence and your energy and your power. Good night.
Thank you all.
Good
So
night,
good to
all.
Thank
see everyone.
you.